The new instant Swans Down cake mixes. An altogether new way to make a cake in just one mixing step. Yes, the first and only truly instant cake mixes present those Whiting girls.
That's us. I'm Margaret.
And I'm Barbara.
With Mabel Albertson as Mrs. Whiting. And starring the new instant Swans Down cake mixes. The altogether new way to make a cake.
Which does your family love best? A light white cake? A luscious yellow cake? Or a dark, delicious devil's food? Whichever it is, don't you want it to be the best tasting cake you can serve every time? And it will be if you use the new instant Swans Down cake mixes. But don't take my word for it. Try one. If your first cake isn't the best tasting ever, you'll get 3 times your money back for the empty package. Triple your money back if you don't say instant Swans Down makes the best tasting cake you ever ate. Know what else you'll say? They're really instant cake mixes. So much easier, ordinary mixes seem like old-fashioned hard work now. Just throw everything into the bowl at once. Cake mix, water, eggs. Then mix with a hand beater or even a spoon. It's that easy. It's so easy, even I can't make a mistake. So go ahead and try them. For the best tasting cakes, instant Swans Down cake mixes.
Have you seen this? Oh, your new blouse. Very pretty. No. Did you see this? Oh, it's rather daring, isn't it? Margaret ripped it last night. It's utterly ruined. Oh, that's a shame. Well, maybe I can make it over into some kind of a peekaboo blouse. Be too big of a peek. She didn't even ask me if she could borrow it. Are you still crabbing about that? You practically stole it from me. Oh, the nerve, the crust, the unmitigated gall.
Unmitigated? My, you have been studying at college.
Oh, now, Margaret, if you did tear the blouse, the very least
But I
you could
told her I was sorry.
You didn't look sorry.
I'm a singer, not an actress.
Then you weren't sorry. Oh, girls, please.
Look, little sister, it was an accident. I caught it on a nail, and I'm going to get you a new one. I'm sorry the whole thing ever happened. I'm so broken up about it, I probably won't be able to sleep for weeks. There, is that better?
No, but go on.
Come in. Oh, hello, Miss Parker. Come in.
No, I'm Miss Whiting. Miss Parker's the tall brunette in the front row who looks at you.
Oh, yes. Well, come in anyway.
I just wanted to tell you how much I'm enjoying your psychology course.
Well, I hadn't realized I was getting through to you.
Oh, yes.
You know, sometimes I wonder how I'm doing when I look out over that sea of closed eyes and open mouths.
But, Professor Middleton, nobody ever sleeps through your classes.
Well, in that case, I must have a few students who snore when they're wide awake.
Oh, no. It's much too exciting, exploring the nasty little complexes people have. I feel like you're taking me on a safari through the dense jungles of the human mind.
Thank you, Ma'am Sy.
Besides, those chairs are so uncomfortable.
I see.
Why are they so uncomfortable?
Dr. Hauser ordered them that way.
The old moron.
Oh, believe me, the old moron is no idiot. It's just practical psychology.
Well, the whole thing is just too fascinating. I've read almost all of these books.
And you enjoy them?
Oh, yes. Freud simply fractures me.
Yes. I bet if he were alive, he'd flip at you, too.
I may even become a psychiatrist. I already have quite a good start. I'm very good at interpreting doodles.
Oh, fine. The next time I have a doodle I want interpreted, I'll come to you.
I also read palms. Those little beads of perspiration. You're thinking about Miss Parker. You think that she...
I already know what I think about Miss Parker. Now, if there isn't anything else...
Well, there is one thing. Are all the things in these books really true?
Let me see here. Obermeyer's History of Psychoanalysis, Kandinsky's Psychiatric Treatment of the Criminal Mind, Von Hinken, Modern Psychotherapy, and Webster's Collegiate Dictionary.
There were a few words I didn't know.
These are excellent books. What are you doing with them?
I told you I'm really very interested in psychology. Is it true that the older sister always hates and resents the younger sister?
Quite often. And we call that sibling jealousy. You see, the older child thinks of the newcomer as an interloper who is stealing the parents' love and affection.
I know it.
Yes. I had an older brother. It's a wonder I lived through the first 5 years of life. Little childish pranks, like when Mother would leave the breakfast table, he'd slip a firecracker into my oatmeal. And I'd get punished for being a sloppy eater. And I'll never forget one 4th of July. He hooked me onto a skyrocket. Fortunately, the safety pin broke.
I know just how you feel. I, too, am a sibling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see. There's another thing I want to know. Is it true that when a person accidentally rips or breaks something, that subconsciously they really wanted to do it?
Well, let's say often a person subconsciously lets an accident happen to something he doesn't like.
Then it was a deliberate accident.
Hmm?
Oh, thank you so much, Professor. You've been simply enormous.
Quite all right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You're still thinking about Miss Parker.
She was right.
You're looking for some particular song, dear? No, I'm just going over a few numbers. I've got to sing next Saturday night for the LZKXCPY.
I'm going to hate myself for asking, but what is it?
I don't know, some eye doctor's organization. Fools rush in, and here I am, very glad to be unhappy. I can't win, yet here I am, more than glad to be unhappy. Unrequited love's a bore, and I got it pretty bad. But for someone you adore, it's a pleasure to be sad, like a lost and straying baby lamb with no mammy or no pappy. I'm so unhappy, but oh, so glad. Are you getting kinks out of your neck, or didn't you like it?
Oh, you sang it beautifully. I'm sorry about what I said about you this morning.
Oh, that's all right, Barbara.
You couldn't help it. I should have pitied you instead. Glad to be unhappy. Well, you're not a violent case. Just all fouled up.
Now, just a minute, hold it.
Well, maybe if you understood it, you could fight it and win. Do you realize the psychological implications of that number?
What psychological implications?
Well, it's also negative. Well, in other words, you're saying you're glad to be unhappy, which means if you were happy, you'd be miserable. Now, just a second. You don't mean that... Obviously, you have a guilt complex about love with masochistic tendencies.
Massa what stick?
You like to punish yourself. You may be worse off than I thought.
Mother, bring out the butterfly net.
See? You're afraid to face the horrible reality of it alone.
Now, look, Barbara, I didn't write those lyrics.
No, but you picked out the song. You picked it out because it appealed to your warped personality.
I suppose if I sing torch songs, that means I'm a firebug.
Go ahead. Laugh it off. Let me see what else your subconscious has picked out. Everything happens to me. Definite persecution complex. I'll never smile again. The defeatist attitude. I get a kick out of you. I wonder what that means.
You'll find out if you'll just stoop over.
Oh, and here's Melancholy Baby. To the trained mind, this shows a desire to return to childhood. To that happy period before I arrived.
If I only knew then what I know now. Barbara, pick up those psychology books and get out of here before I blow my top.
Go ahead, blow it. You've been leaking steam for years. I know you resent me and think of me as a monster.
Maybe there's something to this after all.
It's the usual sibling jealousy. And because you felt I was stealing Mother and Father's affection, you took up singing to attract their attention to you. And it would have worked if I hadn't been such a lovely child. Out. O-W-T, out. That's why you've become what you are today. A wonderful singer, but a mental case.
Well, if you'll just loosen my straitjacket, I'll go back to rehearsing. You must have been a beautiful baby. You must have been a wonderful I'll do it later.
We don't have a butterfly net, dear. How about a hairnet?
Mother, I just had a long talk with my psychology professor, and I want you to prepare yourself for a shock.
You're going to pass the course.
No, that's not it. Your daughter is off her rocker. She needs psychiatric help desperately.
Well, don't worry about it, Barbara. I love you just the same.
Here you are, taking your cake out of the oven. Will it be just a good cake, or will it be the best-tasting yellow cake you ever baked, just like this one, every time? Well, now you can be sure it will be, because now there's a new and different kind of cake mix. New instant Swans Down cake mixes. And if the very first cake you make with an instant Swans Down cake mix isn't the best tasting you ever ate, you'll get 3 times your money back for the empty package. Yes, ma'am. Instant Swans Down cake mixes make the best tasting cakes ever, or triple your money back. Cakes with a wonderful homemade flavor and goodness you never dreamed you'd get from a cake mix. And new instant Swans Down cake mixes are the easiest you can use. So easy, ordinary mixes seem like hard work. Why, you can even mix up the batter with a spoon. So try white cake, yellow cake, and devil's food mix for guaranteed best-tasting cakes. Remember, instant Swans Down cake mixes.
Morning, dear.
You know, that's what I like about you, Mother. You're an optimist. You always like to see the bright side of things.
I guess you're right. That's why I'm dusting.
Is poor, wretched Margaret up?
No. Barbara, are you still harboring that silly notion that there's something wrong with your sister?
But it isn't a silly notion. She's a perfect example of sibling jealousy. For instance, why did she tear my blouse?
She caught it on a nail.
Oh, that's the story she gives us. But it goes deeper than that. For the truth, we have to delve into the dark recesses of her twisted mind.
Oh, Barbara, for heaven's sake, stop trying to be so dramatic about a simple little accident.
Oh, it's all right for you to take it lightly. You're not the one she tore.
She didn't tear you, she tore your blouse.
Well, it's practically the same thing psychologically. She resented my blouse because it belonged to me. It's all in the psychology book.
You know, sometimes I wish you'd go back to reading those weightlifting magazines.
Professor Middleton, my psychology professor, explained the whole thing to me. It's a case of the older sister resenting the younger sister because I'm the newcomer and get all the attention. And to make matters worse, I'm also brilliant and beautiful.
You'd be perfect if you didn't have such an inferiority complex.
Shh.
What's the matter?
I think I hear Maggie the Ripper prowling around in our room.
Barbara, you're beginning to make Margaret sound like some sort of a criminal.
Well, don't you see, this could be dangerous. First my blouse, then next maybe my sweater, my skirt, my stockings. I could end up in rags.
Maybe you should give up psychology and take up sewing.
Mother, we have to do something. You don't seem to realize how serious this thing is.
I wish you'd stop talking this way. You're getting me nervous now. Good morning. Oh, good morning, dear. Would you like me to get you something to rip? I mean, eat?
No, I'll just have some coffee. Where are the scissors? I want to cut something out of the paper.
Probably a picture of me.
What are you whispering about?
Oh, nothing. Nothing.
The coffee's on the stove, dear.
While you're out there, would you pour me a cup?
I'll be glad to.
You will? Well, never mind.
Well, I'll pour you a cup.
No, never mind. I just remembered coffee brightens me up, and I have 3 very dull classes this morning. There goes a persecution complex if I ever saw one. Did you notice the way she thought I was whispering about her?
When was that?
Just a minute ago, when I was whispering about her. We have a real mental case on our hands.
Oh, now, really, Barbara.
Now, Mother, I know it's a hard thing to admit, but let's face it. Your daughter has snapped her twig.
Barbara, I don't care what your psychology book says. There is nothing wrong with Margaret.
But, Mother,
I refuse to... Oh, now see what I've done.
That was the vase I gave you last Christmas.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I'm sorry, but you got me so nervous. I don't know what happened. Oh, it's just an accident.
Barbara, why did you leave this sweater on the sink?
I washed it and left it there to dry.
Well, it's wet again. I just spilled some coffee on it. I'm awful sorry.
First my blouse, then the vase, on my sweater. Help! I'm surrounded by assassins!
Come in.
Could I see you for a moment, Professor?
Oh, yes, come right in. I'm just marking these test papers. See? Now we're going to miss that boy in the backfield next year.
If you're busy, I can come back.
No, come in. This is just about all I can take for one day. Well, let's see, you're Miss,
Whiting.
Oh, yes, the, doodle interpreter.
I also read palms.
Yes, I remember. Well, Miss Whiting, as we psychologists say, what's on your mind?
Well, it's about my sister. She's just burning up with sibling jealousy, but with paranoid undertones and manic-depressive overtones. Real crazy, huh?
Well, with all those undertones and overtones, she sounds like an advanced case of high fidelity. Oh, look, Miss Whiting, I'm a very busy man.
Well, I know you are, Professor, and I wouldn't bother you if this weren't practically a matter of life and death. Right now, my whole closet may be in shreds.
Your closet?
Yesterday, she tore a big hole in my blouse. I hate to think what would have happened if I'd been wearing it.
Yes, that's something to worry about, all right. Well, I got these test
Professor,
papers.
why don't you just stop by our house tonight and see what you think?
Miss Whiting, I am simply a professor of psychology. I do not make house calls.
But my sister is a very interesting case. Well, if you ever wrote a book, I bet she'd take up a whole chapter.
Well, if I ever wrote a book, I'll be sure and stop by your house. I can probably fill several chapters, but it's out of the question right now.
Well, all right, Professor. But tomorrow in your class, there may be one empty seat.
Yes, mine. I think I'll go fishing.
Is something wrong?
Not necessarily.
What are you staring at?
I'm not staring at anything.
Oh. I'll make you bet you blink before I do.
Dinner will be ready in just a little while. What are you two staring at?
We're not staring at anything.
Shall I go to the door? That's what I said. I'll go to the door.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening. Is this the Whiting residence?
Yes, it is. Professor Middleton.
Oh, good evening, Miss
How
Whiting.
are you?
Fine.
This is my mother.
How do you do?
How do you do? I hope I'm not intruding.
Oh, not at all. This is my older daughter, Margaret.
The dangerous one.
Rip! Margaret, dear, this is Professor Middleton.
How do you do, Professor?
Oh, how do you do? Well, I didn't realize that Barbara's sister was the very lovely and talented Margaret Whiting.
Oh. Oh. Oh, well, how do you do, Professor?
How do you do? And I'm quite a fan of yours, I might add.
Well, by all means, do at it.
Really, I have all your records. I enjoy your singing very much.
Well, thank you. Would you like to stay for dinner?
Oh, you're very kind, but I just dropped by for a moment.
Why don't you sit down, Professor?
Well, all right.
And why don't you just stretch out here on the couch?
Barbara, the professor didn't come by to psychoanalyze me.
Oh, of course he didn't. But why don't you just lie down anyway and rest your weary, tortured brain?
Barbara?
Miss Whiting, I hate to impose on you, but I wonder if you'd do me a big favor.
Why, I'd love to sing something for you.
How did you know I was going to ask that?
She always knows people are going to ask her to sing, even when they aren't.
Thank you, fan club. Is there anything special you'd like me to do?
No, I'll leave that up to you.
All right.
For her first number, she'll sing the entire score from Oklahoma.
You have my permission to leave the room at any time. Maybe you'll like this. I have a certain way that makes other people say that I lack responsibility. I may refuse to labor as hard as my good neighbor, but that's the way I love to be. When I am fancy free and I love to wander, it's just a gypsy in my soul. There's someone calling me from way out yonder. It's just a gypsy in my soul. I've got to give vent to my emotions. I'm only content having my way. There is no other life of which I'm fonder. It's just a gypsy in my soul. No cares, no strings. My heart is gonna have wings. That's why I'm fancy free and I love to wander. It's just the gypsy in my soul. In my soul. It's just the gypsy in my soul.
dear.
I know this is a bit presumptuous on my part, but, well, would you have dinner with me tonight? Oh, I suppose you have other plans.
Well, I did have a dinner date, but maybe I can break it.
Oh, fine.
Mother, do you mind if I break our dinner date for tonight?
Not at all, dear.
Well, so much for that. I'll just go change my clothes. I'll be back in a minute.
All right.
Stay out of my closet.
Well, Professor, what do you think?
Well, if you mean about your sister, she's a very charming person. Real normal.
She is? Not even just a little busy signal?
There's nothing wrong with that girl. Perfectly adjusted. No complexes, no neuroses, very well balanced. I wonder what her problem is.
Well, I'm glad the old girl isn't a candidate for the Laughing Academy. I'm sorry I wasted your time.
Oh, it wasn't wasted. Well, actually, it was your mother's phone call that persuaded me to drop in.
Frankly, I was getting a little worried.
Then you did think something was wrong.
Yes, you finally convinced me.
Well, Mrs. Whiting, there's really nothing to worry about. She does have a few neurotic tendencies, but they're not serious.
But I thought you said Maggie was real normal.
Oh, she is, but we're both a little concerned about you. Of course you are. And you just keep saying that. Now, why don't you just lie right down here and make yourself comfortable? That's the way.
That's the girl.
Now then, let's go back to your childhood. Your mother tells me that you used to think you were a saxophone.
Mother, I never thought I was a saxophone. I was a clarinet.
Now, a word from next week's sponsor.
Out of this package comes a new Children's Home Permanent miracle. Lilt's brand new Party Curl Home Permanent. Party Curl's amazing waving lotion discovery gives the longest lasting curls, yet it's the mildest made for children. It even smells milder. There's no harsh odor, pleasanter for both of you. Party Curl is the only ammonia-free Children's Home Permanent. Its new milder waving lotion coaxes in the longest-lasting curls of all leading children's waves, and it's self-neutralizing, so it's fast and easy, too. Party Curl's the wave that stays soft and natural-looking even when she romps and plays, without resetting between shampoos. So to give your daughter the longest-lasting curls with the mildest waving lotion made for children, get new Party Curl, the Miracle Children's Home Permanent.
Those Whiting Girls were brought to you by the new Instant Swans Down Cake Mixes, the only truly instant cake mixes. Those Whiting Girls is a Desilu production. Was Professor Middleton.